How does it feel to be stood next to a man with exceptional muscle mass?
I believe the world's most difficult physical challenges can be accomplished with just 1 hour's training a day. My name is Dale Hardiman, and I've given myself only 6 months to prepare for arguably the hardest single-day endurance event in the world, the English Channel. Let's go get it.
Welcome back. As you can see, we're on a train for ease of navigation around London. So today we started off by going up to Northampton this morning. First thing this morning, met up with Stu, done some swimming. We've been drilling rotation and breathing. See, this cause all sorts of turmoil to the breathing. That's what I'm saying. Is it this shoulder that's giving me the problem in the breath, or is it my? I don't know. It kind of feels like partly this shoulder, partly something to do with what I'm doing in rotating.
Does it feel the same when you're breathing?
No.
It feels different. Your rotation feels different.
It feels different when I'm breathing.
Yeah. Okay. First thing I would say is, don't be quite so harsh to yourself. It's the beginning of a journey, and actually you're swimming pretty nicely. Think back.
Yeah.
Think back. Swim pretty nicely. Your rhythm's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're reaching pretty well. All these things you're working on are definitely improving.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
I definitely had some better moments.
Yeah, you did. So, I know this is a really abs and obvious comment, but when you're trying to solve something that's got loads of component pieces to it, like breath timing, air position, rotation, reach, all these things thrown together, take one bit of it that you know has a big impact and just go, right, I'm going to do several blocks of swimming where that's all I work about. And in your case, you can go, right, not only where am I looking when I breathe, where's my anchor for it? And that's it. Nothing else on your mind at all.
Okay.
Okay, any comments?
I'm still looking backwards, am
A little bit, yeah.
I?
That's why I said, like, fixate on that, and you're in a good place. Here comes my amazing drawing skill.
Hand and forearms.
That's it. So there's our paddle. That's what we want to use to move the water.
Yeah.
Let's just look at what your arm does here. This is a breath, right? Which way is that water moving? The moment, yeah, sideways.
Sideways.
And then let's keep drawing it.
Downwards.
At what point is this paddle vertical?
No.
Certainly not while it's on this camera angle, right? So back here.
It's on the air. It's not. Yeah.
Back here.
Yeah.
So that's good news for you, isn't it?
Every session since we started today, we started to introduce some of the catch, so I could start to propel myself through the water.
If I push my elbow forward, then my shoulder's gonna rotate. You don't need to do it on purpose. In fact, you don't want to, because when people do, I see these kinds of movements. All I want from you at this stage is the idea that it's a forward motion, not part of your pull. Catch is not part of your pull, it happens spurts.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get across. And I want to just try my favourite cue first of all. Like when I'm thinking about my catch when I'm swimming, what I do is I imagine that I'm nudging my elbow forwards towards the wall I'm swimming to or the destination. Does that make sense? You know, like when we're standing there, that movement.
Oh yeah.
There you get rushed again.
Yeah.
You can see the difference, right? And then there are a few where, and this is a funny camera angle to look up for this, but try, we're going to do one more round on this side, and I want you to try really hard not to drop your wrist like that.
Yeah.
I know it's a habit for you to do that.
Not just in the swimming pool either.
Good. Much better. Again, there's little elements make a big difference? They feel different.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels like I'm getting hold of more water.
That's perfect. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to achieve, right? When you're swimming at the moment for the next week or so, I want that breathing thing to be your here.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked about that was that you took more time between each one.
Yeah.
And in this drill, that's really helpful because it will allow you to pop back up to the surface and give yourself space. Good. How'd that feel?
Yeah, I think it was just sort of changed. Felt good at times and then felt different at other times. There's moments of all sorts. Felt like I was rotating my body a little bit better, yeah.
So we've got to compensate for that. So make sure you're going forward into the catch,
Yes.
not up.
Yeah.
Have you got a snorkel?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with this sort?
Yeah. It's trying to get as much of the water. I was like, every time I prep it.
I can hear that.
It's okay. So that was good, interesting, good to have a change. Then we just short while ago, as you'll see in the footage, we just visited the body scan. Body scan. Okay. So firstly, I'd be a bit chubby. BMI overweight, of course.
Okay, Dale, so the report starts with something very crude. BMI is what your GP would use, so it's just weight divided by height squared. Technically, you're overweight, but technically I am as well. Anybody with muscle is going to be overweight on something like BMI.
I was speaking to James before this and we were trying to predict what my body fat percentage would be. And I guessed it at around 15% and it came out at
14.5. So if we're trying to be 20 to 22, optimizing for the channel swim, you are quite low and maybe even too low. So getting you up to 20%, 22% would require you to gain probably 3, 4, 5 kilos of fat mass. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's fine.
That's fine?
We'll be okay.
Okay.
We'll have to eat some cakes.
We will.
You know, in terms of a channel swimmer, in body fat mass, or body fat percentage as well, fairly low.
Beyond just percentage, we're going to look at your visceral fat measurement. Visceral fat is that intra-abdominal fat, is the fat around the organs, the type of fat associated with stroke, cancer, type 2 diabetes. On the report, the orangey gold is your body fat, the red purple is your fat-free soft tissue, so your muscle, and then we see your bones in blue. So visceral fat is just measured within the abdominal cavity. It's below the muscle. It's not this kind of subcutaneous layer around the edges. And your measurement is very healthy and low for your age. So that speaks to just being very fit and overall maintaining a nice low level of body fat.
Low visceral fat, you know, high lean mass.
Your lean mass is exceptionally high. Your lean mass index, how many kilos of muscle mass you have for your height, is higher than 82% of men who we scan. So you're exceptionally muscular. Maybe even too muscular for swimming. Weighs her down.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. How does it feel to be stood next to a man with exceptional muscle mass?
It feels good.
Yeah.
Phenomenal results on lean mass.
More lean mass on my arms and shoulders than on my trunk, and even less on my legs. My brother's always took the piss out of me and said I've got skinny legs. Well, the data now backs up his hypothesis on that one, so
the overall distribution between your arms, your trunk and your legs, you've got really big arms and shoulders. Torso kind of somewhere between the arms and the legs. The legs are the lowest, although they're not small, but it's just that the arms are, you're over indexing on arm muscle and shoulder muscle.
I guess that's like legacy from the mixed martial arts, like throwing and twisting.
Yeah, I think that's always about being shaped.
This man is a Muay Thai fighter with a professional record of 4 wins from Luton, England. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale!
So bones are good, muscle is obviously exceptional. Just in terms of fat, I reckon we need to gain 4 or 5 kilos of fat, and I never say that to clients. So that is interesting.
Yeah, it's a definitely different ways to think about it.
Yeah, different target setting.
It was a good scam. Basically, I've been doing some research, trying to figure out, factor in the cold, factoring in the buoyancy, and also whilst also trying to stay streamlined in the water, where would my body fat be best placed as a percentage. Now obviously there's not a ton of information of people speaking about this out there, but I used ChatGPT to help me. Very, very good source of information, has a good knowledge base, scanned every website in the world, so from that it suggested that for the swimming in the cold and for insulation and for buoyancy, that maybe my body fat should be around 20%, between 20% to 22%, if I don't want to lose any sort of like streamline ability through the water. Now mine's 14.5%, and I haven't been necessarily eating more on purpose. I have been naturally getting a bit heavier. I haven't been watching what I eat at all. I don't really watch what I eat. It's all done through feel, what I feel like eating. You know, I always have a similar amount of protein in my diet, no matter what I'm doing training wise. Typically my body weight will go up if I'm doing less cardio, more resistance training. It comes down if I do more cardio, less resistance training, and my fat mass will change as a result of both. Basically calories in versus calories out. And at the moment I seem to be tipping on the heavier side, which would make sense. I don't think I'm burning as much calories swimming at the moment as what I would be doing if I was running, cycling, because the intensity is just really not there. It's like technique, and I'm trying to add a little bit of intensity where I can, and I'm also adding in some cycling and some running to get some intensity, and to make sure those body parts looked after. So yeah, 14.5%. You know, do I need to be heavier? Is the question, or do I need to have more fat mass? The answer is I don't actually know. I spoke to Stu at SwimCube about this. He doesn't seem to know either, really. I mean, what he suggested was that the whales clearly aren't slim, and that at the moment maybe I'll be okay. But once we start swimming in the open water in the cold, if I'm struggling to adapt to the cold, which may happen, we'll see, then maybe I'll need to put on more body fat. Having been playing with cold a little bit though over the last few weeks, I did 20 minutes in a 14.5 degree tub the other day, and it was much more comfortable than when I a few weeks ago when I first started doing it, when I did 20 minutes in an 18 degree tub. So it's a 3.5 degree change and much more comfortable, and no aftershock either. So I think I'm going in the right direction, but time will tell.